It's Healthy Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Tokwe Mark Odige, and with me, as usual, are the ladies.
Hi.
Good morning. Of course, Mariam, you know we are.
Yes.
So let me introduce. This is the first time you're joining us on
Absolutely,
the
yes.
weekday.
Yeah. I'm excited to be here.
Welcome. So those that watch Saturday show, you'd have met both of them, but Ronke and Dami are on the show today with us, and we're happy to have you here. Welcome, especially.
Thank you.
Mariam, how was your day yesterday?
Oh my God, I had such an exhausting day, but I know I'd mentioned that Skid Store had given us a 100,000 naira voucher, and then we just realized a few days before that we have only 3 days before it expires. So we went shopping. We blew the card, but then I now realized that what did we pick? Books.
Well, that's good.
And I was like, oh, we did not pick school bag. We did not pick.
Oh,
not that not that the school bag. We have school bag, but I was just like, oh, maybe I should have picked socks. I would have picked clothes or something. But we picked lots of books.
Maybe because you didn't make a list when you were going.
The kids were picking by themselves.
No, I did. I picked books.
So you did well.
Yeah,
Thank
you are
you.
a published author.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Obviously, you will
We got
gravitate
chemistry,
towards...
physics, biology books. Oh, yes. We got those books because we need to study during the holidays. Yes.
How thoughtful.
So the kids finally, eventually, were able to get one toy. They did not look very happy with me, but I'm hoping that I did the good thing as a mother, and then in future they'll be proud of me. But they were not so happy with me with my choices yesterday.
I think it takes time for parents to get that thank you. The real thank you, because the thank you get now is the thank you for them today. But the real thank you is when they come back 20, 30 years down the line and they say, Mommy, I did not understand. But now I do. Yeah. We will get it all. Ronke, how you doing? How was the weekend?
Great. I'm particularly excited about today.
What's happening today?
Okay, so I grew up in a place where one of the topics we'll be discussing today was the in thing. And I saw so many people just become happy. Yeah, so I'm excited about talking about it.
Okay, so look out for our topic for today.
Yeah.
How you
It's a surprise.
I'm very well, thank you. Apart from the cold that is trying to take away my voice, but I cast and bind you.
That was me last week.
Yeah, so apart from the cold, I am quite excited about the progress we've made in my business. So we make rechargeable bags, wallets, and smart glasses, basically fashion tech accessories. And we have been trying to develop this particular product for about 8 months. And we made considerable progress, and my partners just gave me a feedback yesterday, and I'm just so excited. And because I'd already, put out a teaser that we are developing this product. So there have been a lot of requests. When are you releasing this product? Where is it? And we've had a lot of back and forth, but I'm glad that we made progress.
Business in Nigeria.
So is that bag that has how does it work?
Yeah, it has a battery in it, so you can recharge your phone with it on the go.
My son has one of those bags.
So...
We have it too, but
also
never
so you can do the phones, your laptop.
Yeah, I'm sure they bought it from me. Okay. Because I'm the only one doing it on the continent, and I'm proud.
Oh, that's so good. No, but it's good. I was just telling them in the makeup room about innovation. I was saying that you have to find a way to do something different. It's a question every business owner must keep asking themselves, like, what am I doing differently, or how am I putting myself? Because it's easy to imitate what you're saying, but we must learn to bring in our own spice into everything that we're doing per time. But kids are doing well. I signed them up for Khan Academy. It's free, and they are forming, when I was leaving the house, like they're paying attention to the Khan Academy. I know once I leave the house, they're probably going to go into Roblox. I'm waiting for them. But I'm trying to ensure that I give them a timeline. This holiday period is maximized into doing everything, not just academic, but they're also having fun, and it's a healthy mix. We'll take a quick break. It's Healthy Tuesday. I wouldn't even take any banter on health. Mariam, I loved when you were giving us tips. But we'll bring that Mariam back very soon. When we return, we'll go through the front pages of the papers. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back. Before we go into the papers, let me just give you this information. You know that we do these stories. On Thursdays and Fridays, we talk about life stories, and life itself is a story. A collection of several events that shapes our journey. And if you want to share your story, that you should share it with us on the show. It will help people learn from your experience. It will help people prefer solutions to your experience. You would get to hear from the entire country as well as the ladies. So please send your touching stories, challenges, or miracles to us at Your View. Send it to yourview@tvccommunications.tv. The email is right there on the screen, so you can take a picture of it and use that to communicate with us. Share your story with us. We'll use your story to help many other Nigerians. All right, let's start the front page review with The Nation. Major headline, subsidy removal. More states roll out palliative. You have the Kwara, Ogun, Imo announce support for workers and citizens. Why industries shun discos by experts. NEC criticizes high electricity consumption rate by households. In other news, foreign inflow rise by 70% in Q2. Tinubu will fix insecurity, says Akpabio. How will sit at home end by state governors? Kanu not in support. And resident doctors give condition to halt planned strike. Tribunal sacks Delta Labour Party rep for Elumelu. Who has what story? I think the major headline is extremely important.
So I've got a major headline. We have the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, Kwara State Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak. Yesterday, they had, at the forum, they were discussing different palliatives that they are planning to reel out in their various states, you know, to help sort of alleviate and cushion the effects of this fuel subsidy removal. So we have Ogun State Governor Dakwa Abiodun, Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma, Jigawa State Governor, all these governors were there. Abdulrazak, that's the Kwara State Governor, had approved a monthly payment of 10,000 to every civil servant in his state. Governor of Ogun State has sanctioned the payment of a 10,000 additional salary and then also immediate promotion for workers and also bonuses. Governor Uzodinma okayed the sale of food at reduced prices to citizens. The state will increase the fleet of its mass transit buses. It just shows us the different steps that the governors are taking. In Jigawa, the state governor Umar Namadi promised to support farmers by providing them with fertilizers, chemicals, and equipment, and you know, a few others as well. So the good, I think it was Ogun State that gave 3 months. It was more specific. It gave that says for these 3 months they will have these palliatives. So it just shows us what they're doing. They understand the pain of the people. Anybody say anything? But I'm just hoping.
Non-salary earners.
Well, there's Governor of Kwara State provided. Well, no. Yes, there's something here. The Governor of Kwara State has approved Kwara State's Social Investment Program (KWASIP) to activate 500 million naira worth of conditional support for petty traders and MSMEs. So I think they get it, they understand what it is, but I'm just hoping, you know, that very soon that this is, because it's for a short period of time, and also those that need it get it. So that's just my hope.
Is there a standard parameter for selecting those people?
They're mostly, for what they mentioned, the poor and the vulnerable, the indigent. Okay. So that's what we're talking about.
And civil servants, obviously.
And then how do we check that people do not collect? Father will go, mom will go, son will go.
That's an important data. They must have information, or else.
But thankfully, we all have BVN and NIN, and that should help in reducing those kind of duplicates of stuff. What story do you have?
Yeah, I have a story on page 6. Suspend planned strike. Abbas tells resident doctors. Not again. So the House of Representatives Speaker Tajuddin Abbas has urged members of the National Association of Resident Doctors to suspend the planned strike. Okay, so it turns out that just before President Tinubu's inauguration, there was a planned strike which was suspended, but right now they are coming back to the demand, saying it's 200% or nothing. So the speaker has asked for 2 weeks to reconvene, go discuss with the president, other members, and come up with something substantive. Let us just pray that this doesn't happen. I pray that they are able to resolve it amicably, and we do not have to talk about strike again this year.
Okay, so do you have any story here?
No, I don't.
Okay, so the governors of the Southeast are struggling to find a way to end the sit-at-home. It's a major issue, and Nnamdi Kanu is speaking through his lawyer, Mike Ozekome, to say that in a video clip that he doesn't support the sit-at-home, that those that are pushing the sit-at-home should stop it. He also insisted that he is fighting for the people and he will not, in the same time, fight for the people, be shutting down the economy, that many people have cried to him that it is affecting their businesses and the sitting at home is affecting their ability to work. And, you know, he quoted the Bible. Is reoccurring what Nnamdi Kanu is saying, that they should put an end to sit at home. I was waiting to, I'd love to talk about what the governors are planning to do as well, but people should just, those in the Southeast, you know, we're praying for them. It's a major concern for every Nigerian. And
It's like we're praying for us.
we're praying for us, yes, because we're all in this together. And we're hoping that they're able to find, the governors have God gives them innovative ideas to resolve this issue and let the economy flow appropriately. So moving on to the Punch, major headline, subsidy pain, Labour talks tough, ASU protests condemn relief plans. ASU protesters condemn relief plan as well. Then SANU, ASU say fuel subsidy unintelligently removed. NLC is to meet today. You can see the picture of the protest that took place in Edo State. Edo Civil Society Organization are saying no to the continuous hike in fuel prices. Supervisors, invigilators selling WAEC questions online arrested on trial, WAEC boss. That's a story I'm interested in hearing about. 3 Osun students hospitalized as gunmen opened fire on barber's shop. Pregnant women, children among Ondo tanker fire victims. Most Nigerian leaders' knowledge of development is shallow. That's according to our former President Obasanjo. Forex crisis, passengers groan as foreign airline hike fares. Navy won't stop burning vessels, ferrying stolen crude. So, please let's talk about the WAEC. Who has the WAEC story?
I think Mrs. Fash has the WAEC story.
I actually have the Osun students.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I pray that we get a time where we get to stop talking about this government issues. So it turns out that 3 guys were just at the barber's shop and some men came around and shot them. So we do not know, Governor Adeleke has tried to get into the matter. We do not know if they were cultists or they were robbers. Well, I mean, it's something strange. Those students are in the College of Health Technology somewhere in Elisha, and they're currently undergoing treatment. But sad as it may sound, the boy was shot in his tummy, so I don't know if he's even going to survive. And then I'm wondering, there's so much panic, so much anxiety. People cannot just move from one house to the other. I mean, they were just at the barber's shop, so what would those guys come out? Broad daylight. Why would they come out? So
I'm sure there'll be more to the story and we'll wait for their investigation. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll continue with Front Page Review, reviewing the Punch. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing the front pages of the paper and we're in Punch. You had a story about the pregnant woman.
Yes, I have this story that says pregnant women, children among Ondo tanker fire victims. So the story says the Ondo Sector Command of the Federal Road Safety Corps has disclosed that 8 people lost their lives in the petrol tanker fire that occurred along the Benin-Ore Shagam Expressway on Sunday. Apparently, this tanker filled with products fell on the road. You know, the usual shenanigans of, tankers falling on the road. And our people, in their usual ways, started scooping the fuel. And while they were at it, there was an explosion, and a lot of them were actually caught in the fire. And this brings me to this question. Why do people see huge risks and still decide to plunge? Because this is not the first time we're having this kind of situations where people are trying to scoop fuel and, try to play a smart one to see how much can you really take? How much can you really sell it for? And why would you want to risk your life for that?
That's a challenge of poverty.
Yes.
But Mariam, you have the story about from Obasanjo.
Well, I wanted to start this article with another banger. You know, when he speaks, it's a banger. Anyway, they said he has lambasted. So this, first of all, this was in Abuja, where he was delivering the keynote address at the public presentation of a book titled Reclaiming the Jewel of Africa. It was written by a former Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment. He also served as Minister of Finance, Olusegun Aganga. I hope I pronounced that well.
Yes, you did.
Okay, good. So, former President Olusegun Obasanjo lambasted Nigerian leaders, stating that most of them were empty as far as development issues were concerned. I'll just pick out some of the things he said here, quoting him. He says, if you ask most of our leaders why they want to be in position they are craving for, you will weep for our nation over their level of emptiness as far as development issues are concerned. He says, what do they understand for peace, security, stability, predictability, development, growth, and progress to be actualized? I believe that peace, security, democracy, and prosperity must be taken together. He also says that as a country, in the last 63 years, we have not lived up to the expectations. We have disappointed ourselves. We have disappointed Africa. We have disappointed the black race. We have disappointed the world.
He's really
because of yes. And then he said that,
Wow.
but you know, he's saying that, but if our leaders, if we have better leaders, if they understand exactly what they are meant to do, what development entails, and those who also have the fear of God and have a conscience, we can turn our story around.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Moving on to Daily Sun. Protest rocked Benin City over fuel price. Demonstrators say Tinubu government choking Nigerians to death. Yakubu, that's INEC didn't receive direct funding from foreign development partners. Tribunal nullifies election of Labour Party's Okoli as rep member, returns Elumelu. Tribunal also, INEC can't explain Tinubu's victory, claims Obi, says 2 million votes from 18,000 polling units unclear. Kogi again, hoodlums raise SDP Goba candidate's campaign office. Atiku escapes death in his Adamawa residence. 2 arrested. PDP demands probe. PAP group accuses Udiomu of harassing staff after documents leak. And Anambra joint security forces storm gunmen, then arrest 9, recovers vehicles. So, which of this story are we starting with? Is it protest? What has the protest in Benin?
Okay.
No, I didn't take the story.
Okay, so the Edo State Civil Society essentially are complaining about the fuel hike that we are all experiencing, and they chose to go about it by doing what do you call it? A protest on the streets of Benin City. The entire they call themselves it's a civil society. All of them came organized, and they are protesting. The complaint is majorly about the fact that a lot of the policies being implemented by the current administration is choking citizens. And I understand the challenge. You know, we were all told right from the first speech by the president that it was going to be a tough one. And yes, we are all feeling the pinch. And I think it's okay. It was a peaceful protest. Thankfully, there was no violence. There was no vandalism. And I hope that every protest that plans to take place follows that same template.
But so, I'm worried. There's so much anxiety. I feel like they're not communicating enough. Yeah.
Yes.
I feel anxiety rises on a daily basis. You just go on the headlines and you hear that the marketers are about to raise the price again. And you're wondering, okay, you hear schools are increasing fees. So there's so much anxiety. I just feel it's fair that they communicate better.
So we'll be hoping to hear more from
the government.
Yeah. So we have a former vice president, the presidential candidate of PDP, Atiku Abubakar. They said at the weekend he cheated death as police confirmed arrest of 2 suspected Boko Haram terrorists on a mission to attack his residence in Yola in Adamawa State. One Jibrila Mohammed was arrested at the residence of the former president in Yola, and while they were interrogating him, they were able to also arrest his accomplice. He confessed to being a member of Boko Haram sect. He revealed a plot to bomb Waziri Atiku's residence along with the faculties at the American University Nigeria Yola, which we know that he owns, as well as the Modibo Adama Central Mosque. So PDP is demanding a thorough investigation of this. They feel that this is just a way to, of course, bring about his death, but also cause chaos and confusion in, in the community and in the state and the country as a whole, to have that. So we hope investigations are carried out. Yes.
But
intelligence, we're able to get them on time.
moving on to Vanguard, major headline, ministerial list. Hey, anxiety as 7 ex-governors, others pile pressure on President Tinubu. APC members urged to remain calm. All of us are waiting for this list. In other stories, global principles of fairness, compensation for publishers by Google. Facebook launched as Nobel laureate BBC and NG Yoda endorse principles. Musk rebrands Twitter, replaces bird logo with X.
Wow. Twitter has been stolen. So.
Gas flaring, reps to recover $9 billion fines from oil companies. Disclose identities of NSA's mass burial victim. Amnesty tells federal government. And Tinubu not a magician. APC didn't promise overnight solution. That's from Oshemole. Protest rock Benin City over fuel hike price. And H1. 2023 foreign investments in stock market fails by 40.4% to 145.1 billion naira. So, what happened with Elon Musk? What is he doing?
Okay, so Elon Musk has rebranded Twitter, and that's coming from the whole, I would say, industry tussle between him and the founder of the Meta company.
Continue.
What's this guy's name again? Mark Zuckerberg.
Yes.
And, the Meta company just released an app called Threads, and Threads is functioning just like Twitter. So there's that industry tussle between Elon Musk and, the founder, let's just say Twitter and Threads. And Elon Musk is now taking the initiative to rebrand Twitter. And first of the rebranding measures they took was to change the logo, took the bird away, the blue bird, and replaced it with X. And they're also looking to make Twitter a more engaging app, like for it to do more. They are hoping it will start functioning like WeChat, where you can use it to, apart from putting your thoughts on it, you can chat with it like WhatsApp, and you can even make payments on it. So they're looking to actually expand.
I'm sure the look on my face, I'm like just wondering what's going on. In between all of that, I think it's important that Nigerians just understand that everyone that runs business on social media, you need to find alternatives to your business offline.
They have offline.
Yes, you have offline customers, and I am one of those people that need to find the solution quickly because most of my customers, I got them from social media. And
as an entrepreneur, you need to always look for innovative ways to expand your products. You cannot just stay on one spot and think,
So, Mariam, what story?
The former governor of Edo State, Senator Adams Oshomole, had an interview on a TV station Sunday night, and in response to questions, he says that that first of all, the president that we voted for, Nigerians know that you voted for the president. You did not vote for him. You did not vote for a magician. He says that I know what we APC promise more than you who is reporting. You don't need to give me examples, okay? Then he says, we did not promise 24-hour solution. We did not promise miracles. We did not promise an overnight solution, and he's saying that, anyway, all he's trying to say is that it's going to take a process for us to see the better Nigeria that we're looking for. It's not something that is meant to happen in 24 hours or is meant to happen right now. It's not a miracle. The president is not a magician, but he will put all that's needed, put in place, and it will take a while before we'll start seeing the fruit of this work.
I think they just need to communicate better, just like Mrs. Fash said.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's proceed.
We're done for today, but we'll just take the stories in Nigerian Tribune, how Tinubu can halt petrol pump price from hitting 1,000. That's from some experts. Please, I want the president to read this article. If they have advice, let us take the advice. We need the advice right now. I cannot imagine petrol going for 1,000 naira per litre. In other news, Labour Party was taken out and Elumelu has been declared winner. We have 4 injured as 2-story building collapsed collapses in Ibadan. Really sad, but thankfully we didn't have any fatalities from that. And gory details of the Ore petrol tanker explosion, and that's also a very sad one. But it is well, you know. It seems like we're just taking sad.
Yeah. Some days.
Some
days are like that.
Good stories would help, yeah.
Whew, take a deep breath. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll go into the hot topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're doing a follow-up on the OPM story. A few weeks back, we spoke about how the Happie Boyz that are living in Cyprus came out to release the voice notes that they got from the OPM. That's the founder of OPM. And he was the one that was supposed to sponsor them to Cyprus, pay their expenses, and he said he didn't have money. And he cursed them, and we discussed it that time. And he has come back to say that they should return back to Nigeria and that he would sponsor their education here within Nigeria, but getting dollars to send to them, considering the economy, wasn't going to work. And then we saw a video. Their reply to him, I don't know if we will be able to, producers will play that video, but that is what has inspired us to have this conversation right now. So we're asking the question that, have you ever been in the position where your good deed is now being perceived as evil, you know, and you are being repaid with unwholesome acts for what you meant to be a good action to the person? You can join our conversation by calling us on 081 076 41679, or you can call us on 090 241 63440. Tweet to us as well. Or is it X to us? Or thread to us? You know, now we don't even know which way you're going to reach out to us. So let's, I'm told we can watch the video. I would like us to watch the video now.
You don't pay a flight, when they come like that.
See, they you up here. Come on, buddy.
You don't pull up for airport.
Up here.
You don't pull up.
Come on, buddy. You don't joke.
No, man.
So you can see that video, and you can, like, I remember when we had this conversation, Mariam, and you dropped major wisdom, something that stayed with me about the fact that when people are meant to go through an experience and you don't let them go through the experience, you know. So how do we define, this man was being kind, he was being generous, he was being supportive, that these talented people shouldn't be punished this way, they shouldn't lose their job and then they're out. And now what he meant as good is now being attacked on social media, and the boys are making a mockery of him.
Wow. I think it's a lesson for all of us. It's a lesson for OPM, the founder, and a lesson for all of us, you know, adults, children, young people, that sometimes people will take our gifts and they would throw it in our faces. That's why sometimes we hear people say, you know, just do good and move forward, because you're not doing it for that person. You're just doing it because that is who you are and that's what you believe in. You believe in doing a good deed. You believe in kindness. And your reward is not with people. It's not with the person that you're giving, showing that kindness towards. So I think that is a lesson we need to learn, to have very little or no expectations of any return on your kindness from the people that you have shown kindness. It's also a lesson that we should learn about how we approach issues, especially when it has to do with someone who has committed a crime or someone who has done something wrong, and how we insert ourselves in situations like that. We should not insert ourselves in situations in such a way to make a point, to prove to someone else, because you reap, you know, what you sow. In that case, we remember the story. These boys were security officials at a food place, and they were dancing while on duty. according to that establishment, it was not proper behavior, and they were going to be punished for that. Although it went, like everything these days, it went viral and people enjoyed the dancing, but it did not look good for that establishment, and they were going to punish it. And the founder of OPM intervened in such a way that at that time, what I thought he was doing was trying to stick it to the establishment. Oh, you think you can throw them out? I will show you that I can do better than you. And instead of those boys learning the lesson of how to behave and conduct themselves well, they were given a larger platform to misbehave. So that misbehavior that they did in a small food establishment within Nigeria, they have taken it internationally, and now the whole world is watching them. The sad thing is, the people, or the group of people that are losing is them. The founder has done his job. We can see what he tried to do, and God will bless him for what he tried to do. But these boys are just going down the drain. You have embarrassed yourself now. People would know never to deal with you. And I do not know exactly what those boys are doing there. There's no how that those boys are in school, because some form of that education would have entered their brain. They would have learned some common sense on how to handle issues. Yes, I'm not sure they're in school. Because you have to deal with lecturers, you'll have to deal, and you would have learned in dealing with people in school how to conduct yourself. These boys are just wild and out, so rude, you know. And these are some of the things that we praise these days. We see someone on social media talking smack about people, and we're like, yes, violence. Violence will take you nowhere.
Absolutely. So the issue between
Go ahead.
So the issue between, these Happie Boyz and their benefactor is very dicey, and I think we should actually analyze it with caution. I believe that both parties have their fair shares of the blame. So for the pastor, I want to believe that he likes to embark on white elephant projects. Maybe to prove a point, just like you said, because this is not the first time he's actually embarking on this kind of project. We have the story of the late Deborah that he helped. He helped her parents. He promised them a whole estate. He promised them a whole estate while trying to get them to not mourn over their child. We understand, we get the concept of, trying to, help people. But you have to understand the limits, right? You don't do it because you want to do it to help these people grow, not because you want to actually show off. Because that's what it comes across as to me sometimes when I look at the project. And then this same family actually came out to say, oh, we didn't get an estate as promised by Papa OPM. He rented an apartment for us. And then you now came back with a defense story to say that, oh, they could not manage a whole estate. They would have been the only people living in there. So for security reasons, while they're looking for tenants to fill the estate, come and stay in a rented apartment. And you left that rented apartment the rent on that apartment to expire. So that gives me a sense of the kind of projects that he likes to embark on. Because for these boys, why send them to Cyprus? These are people that are not even exposed yet. There are local universities that you could have enrolled them in, and they could have been under proper supervision, to ensure that they're actually acquiring the skills that they need to acquire to function better as, real individuals of the society. So I'm surprised that, well, maybe I'm not too surprised that he's getting this backlash because he should have actually done the proper thing. And for the boys, we do not know the process that they had actually taken to reach out to the man to say our rent has expired or we don't have money until they came to social media. But there are other ways of resolving issues like this instead of just jumping on social media.
Show us their character.
Exactly.
Don't worry. We know who they are.
Absolutely.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I want to hear from Ronke. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're discussing the idea of your good deed being perceived as evil We're discussing the idea of entitlement. We're discussing the idea of rude behavior from the Happie Boyz to OPM, someone who did them a favor. And I've been waiting to hear Ronke's perspective on this.
Thank you so much, Tokwe. So I saw the video this morning and I was troubled because it's only normal when I get to heaven, I'd like to ask God how he was able to cope with us, because, I mean, it's in our nature to do things like that sometimes. But I'm wondering, when the pastor saw the video of those boys and his heart went out to them, maybe if he was objective, this might not have happened, because so many times we want to do good things, but we lack objectivity. It's all emotions, and truly emotions will just take you high up there and then you're going to fall flat, which is almost what we're seeing now. So I feel like, to answer your question, Tokwe, most times good deeds come back, you know, in a bad way if there's no process, if there's no structure. So for starters, these boys, maybe what they needed was not school at that time. Serious character development, character upgrade. They needed to have realized that their acts could not have taken them far because they were in the wrong. The social media has a way of magnifying bad behavior, indiscipline, and everybody should be careful. We shouldn't just fall for everything we see on social media and think that, I can do better. I'm not in any way judging Pastor, he did well, because there's nothing wrong in seeing something go bad and asking yourself what I can do to make it better. But when we're objective, you're going to check, are you sure what these boys need is some education in a foreign country? Maybe what they needed was some kind of counsel. Maybe they should have been made to go through a process that they will turn out better and appreciate what they have. Because the way those boys are, I'm not sure they can appreciate anything. I wouldn't say they're not deserving, but I would say, before anybody thinks of helping another vulnerable person, pass it through a process. Make sure there is structure. Let it not just be all emotions, I can do it, I want to put it on social media. I also feel if it was going to help them, the next place we should have heard about it should not be in social media. Maybe when those boys had graduated. So I see a lot of process failure. So to answer your question, there's nothing wrong in helping people, but subject it to a process so that you can get the benefit at the end of the day.
I love that. We'll take a call from VI. Aliyu has called in on the show. Welcome to the show. Good morning, Aliyu.
Thank you very much for the good work you ladies do every morning. This is the first time I'm calling.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. Okay, so yeah, I saw the video, I think last night on social media, and I think I read the previous stories around these boys. So, I'll just make 3 points. So the first point is, I'm a little bit older now, but this generation, Gen Z, do a lot of things hiding behind the keyboard of social media. So what somebody is not going to be able to tell you face to face, they are emboldened to do it on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube videos, you know, rudeness, general rudeness, because of the anonymity that social media sometimes brings. If it doesn't give you anonymity, it gives you distance. So you can talk to someone that cannot reach you physically or face to face, and then, you know, you can say a lot of things that you wouldn't say physically if you were with the person. So these boys may not say this to OPM if they were in the same room with him. That's the first point I'm making. The second point I'm making is from the point of OPM. Just like most of us, like me, for example, Apostle Paul said, I know how to abase and how to abound.
Yeah.
So personally, I mean, I've been in want, in lack, and sometimes I've also had more than enough. Now, what I realized is that once people notice that you have more than enough, they tend to push a lot of their personal responsibilities on you. Someone has sent me a message recently, a lady that she needs 40 million naira and so on and so forth. And I'm like, you need 40 million naira? Even if I have 40 million naira, I'm not even giving my wife that kind of money. I'm not sure. So what will make me speak to you, you know, that kind of thing, and so on and so forth. So the answer to that is when you have a little bit more than enough, you can't help everybody. Just help in a measured manner. I listened to a Pastor Samate message some time back. He said, by the time you begin to carry everybody's load on your shoulder, you are not El Shaddai. You will eventually die yourself. So you can give only 1,000 and still be able to fend for yourself and your family. Just give the 1,000 or give the 2,000, not the 40 million that somebody is asking for. You understand what I'm saying?
Thank you
Now,
so much.
The last point I'll make quickly to round up, a couple of friends and I were around in the process of giving scholarship to some students, secondary school students in Nigeria going to university. And we are throwing out the terms and conditions.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I think he was trying to break down having terms and conditions.
Yes.
And it's one of the things you mentioned, is one of the things Mariam also mentioned, that there must be the detailed process communicated. I remember the last time you were saying, did he tell them that he was going to be covering their entire bill? Did he say was he clear in explaining to them that he can't afford it anymore? And I think people are entitled to say they cannot afford it anymore. The realities on ground have changed. I'm making some decisions to cut off some things that people are dependent on, but it just is the reality on ground that I must make those decisions. So I don't think there's anything wrong with him saying, I can't afford this anymore, come back home. But you mentioned something very important. It is that the need to do good and showing off. Then it occurred to me, this is a pastor. Did the pastor pray? Did he consult the Holy Spirit before doing that, carrying out that project? And, you know, a lot of people were on that opinion online. And then somebody else now replied that the fact that you're a pastor doesn't mean you don't make mistakes. You might have good intentions, and at that moment, your humanness, ego is natural to every human being. And that got you in the wrong, you know. And does that mean he now deserves the way he was spoken to? You know, so there are many things wrong, but let's bring it to Miss Yoma. Oh, we have, I think Aliu is back. Aliu, are you back?
No.
Oh, okay, we have Emmanuel now.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Emmanuel.
Welcome to the show, Emmanuel.
Yeah, I'm new. I just called. I'm new on the show.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
So, thank you very much. Yeah, concerning the conversation, what the Happie Boyz did was a very wrong attitude. Because number one, concerning that, for OPM to help them out, at least they should appreciate. That is the number one thing. And once someone is being treated very wrong in taking a decision in what someone did or someone do for you, like helping you out, at least for them to take you guys to Cyprus, to help you guys out, you know, to study, at least there should be a little appreciation. At least, no matter what he did or what he might told to you guys, that okay, come to Nigeria and do this and do that. At least instead of me spending money sending dollars there to continue your education, it is very easy for you to come to Nigeria and furthermore your education. So there is nothing bad in that. So once you have been trained, you have home training. To me, I didn't say that they are not trained well. But once you have been trained and you have home training, no matter how, so there should be the home training will always be with you and it will always move. No matter where you are, no matter where you've been or you find yourself.
Thank you, Emmanuel. So obviously, the idea of home training simply means manners. It's just, you know, we're supposed to learn manners from our home, you know, and then if they didn't catch you at home, you will learn it in school. And then if you don't catch it at home and in school, then the society would insult you for not getting what you should have gotten. But you're
yes, I was going to say that, you know, a lot of times in Nigeria here we excuse improper behavior for poverty and say, oh, it's because they are poor. Yeah, he killed this person because he was so hungry. Oh, he committed a crime because he was so poor. If he was not poor, he wouldn't have done it. And I've always maintained that there's a difference. You can be poor and still be well-behaved. You can be poor and still be polite and still be respectful and still have dignity for yourself and self-respect. And it is two different things. I know people who grew up poor and you would never tell the way they carry themselves with confidence and respect other people. And there are some people who are not even as poor as they were and behave anyhow and blame it on this poverty. And which for them was just a lack of material things. You know, there's just different types of poverty. There's poverty of mind, the fact that you don't have material things, you don't have manners, you don't have respect, you don't even know how to conduct yourself as a human being. So going forward, for a lot of things that happen in Nigeria, let's stop blaming poverty for bad behavior. Let's stop blaming poverty for bad parenting or lack of parenting. We have people that are not raising their children well, and they'll say, oh, it's because they are so poor, we can't afford it. That does not stop you from doing your job as a parent, parenting properly, teaching them how to speak, how to take care of themselves, how to talk to people, how to resolve issues. That's part of parenting. And you're right, if you don't learn it at home, we're hoping that you learn it in school. If you don't learn it in school and you get a job, which was what that job was trying to do for these boys, you learn it at work, where HR would show you what to do and punish you for what you don't do. But then when you insert yourself now as someone who shows kindness without paying attention to what they really need, then, you know, you have truncated that learning. And now they're showing us in full force. So this takes me back to the Mesoma case. You know, a lot of, at first,
we'll talk about Mesoma after the break. Let's take a break. When we return, we would address the connection that we should learn from the Happie Boyz and not let the same thing happen with Mesioma's case. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, we're still discussing the issue of Happie Boyz, OPM, and we were trying to bring it into the recent story of Mesioma. So, Ronke?
Yeah, thank you, Tokwe. So, I feel it's important that Miriam took us through the parenting route. We cannot just put all the blame on these boys. There's some parenting flaw somewhere along the line. And talking about Mesoma, I don't think they are closely related. I just feel like that's another action that should get a consequence. We shouldn't applaud Mesoma for just having courage to say the truth. Yes, it's good that she came out to own up to it, but that does not mean the consequence should be immediately taken out. So as much as people do these things and we put them on a pedestal and say, oh, we're talking about their future, is it because they were sacked that their lives should come to an end? Not necessarily. It's important that the consequence, we must get remorse. If there's no remorse, then Nigeria is in trouble. Where people do things and they just feel they have the support, why would they not go to social media when there are so many people on social media to tell them, yes, don't take nonsense, people feeling entitled, people feeling like, hello, there's no place for character. We are fast losing the whole culture of, oh, I've done something wrong. People do not even care that the pastor they're talking with is not even their mate. I mean, so many people just feel, hey, the pastor is wrong, the pastor did this, why would he promise? You know, it's really, really bad. So I want to ask that as good citizens, as parents, as people who want to reach out to others, as much as we put a process, when somebody does something wrong, the person should face the music. You might choose to do it in a way that does not put a permanent stop to the person's growth, but there should be something that would drive back remorse. When you help people and it goes wrong, let them face the consequence. These boys are not too young to face the consequence of their action.
So I'm happy that, you know, concerning consequences, I love the fact that the state governor in Mesioma's case said that she was going to go through 3 months of counseling and therapy to try and sort of help. That's aside from the fact that there's still going to be the consequences from JAM. According to JAM, they still said that she's going to be barred from writing JAM for the next 3 years, and she's losing this particular result she's gotten already. But there was a similarity with the fact that a wealthy a wealthy man who is also from that same state has said that he's going to sponsor her study abroad. You know that I'm going to take you, let them, if they do this, I will take you abroad and I will take you up. So you were going to say something?
Yes, you've actually captured my thoughts, and I'm just going to wrap up, you know, this line of thoughts of encouraging bad behavior, thinking we are doing good. before you embark on such philanthropic efforts, ask yourself, am I enabling bad behavior or empowering? There's a difference between the two. So, and then number two, can I actually afford it? If I can't afford it, am I seeking contributions from people to actually, grant this help? Because when people notice that you are getting a lot of help or contributions, they will think that you are taking the huge chunk of it and you're giving them just, the crumbs. So you need to be clear. There's a school of thought that says that if you can't afford something twice or 3 times, you clearly cannot afford it at all. Exactly, don't do it. And if you're going to be seeking contributions, put it down on the table, let them understand. Because I have a personal story of, I wanted to help one sickle cell patient at some point. I was a young reporter. I wasn't making a lot of money, but I just wanted to help. And so I was speaking to people around me who I knew had the means to. And they were telling me, you have to be careful because people, they just wonder, why do you want to help me? Don't you have your own problems? Why do you want to help me? I hope you don't want to use my glory. But I proceeded. I was giving this boy 20,000 naira every month out of my salary.
Which was...
Yes, and then the boy felt entitled. At some point, he started giving me different bills. I said, nobody is giving me money from this. This is my own money that I'm giving you. And then at some point, the boy said that, because I had taken him to one of these people to say, oh, look at the person I want to help. So he thought that was the person giving me the money, and I was embezzling part of it and just giving him 20,000. So he requested for the man's number. I said, yeah, take the man's number.
Can you imagine? Honestly, you see this, what you do?
Yeah, go and call him. Go and hear, because I don't have anything to hide. Told him off. And then when he called the man, he was totally told off. Good. And then he now came back to me and said, Dami, I'm sorry. He said,
it's too
fine
late.
now, fine now. Fine now. 20K that I could have been using to
But there's a huge lesson there. I'll take the call from Shola and then we'll go back to how to address that part of when you're contributing money, how best to go about it. Shola, welcome to the show. Good morning. Oh, I'm so sorry, Shola. He was holding on for a long while. But I just had it. I wanted to let her land. But go to, she's done.
Yeah. Yes, because I mentioned it earlier. And for me, the similarities is that it's in the way that we reacted as a country, as a society, as people, and because this lesson is not only for the perpetrators. So it's not only for Happie Boyz, it's not only for Mesoma, it's for all of us and how we view issues. So for me, it was, you know how they say that when God sees our heart, but we just see what we can see. And so for me, that speaks to how when people show kindness or show any good, and we're just happy or excited by that, but say God sees the intention. And for me, I'm trying to think that that's why sometimes the outcome is different. Like, okay, maybe the intention was not right, as we've seen in the case of the Happie Boyz. So the intention, if the intention is not right, the fruit of it would show differently. So the people who at first came out and were supporting her based on ethnicity, based on different things, nobody thought about the girl's life and her character and the values she needed to learn. It was now trying to push a political agenda or an ethnic agenda or religious agenda. So the intention for her support
was
what
wrong.
It looked like kindness wasn't
not really
right.
about her.
They now moved from the main issue.
Yes, and so that's, so that's something we also need to be careful about. Even you, when you're receiving kindness and support, what we question if it's really to empower, as you said, or to enable, and so we were trying, many of us wanted to enable bad behavior. Anywhere else in the world, a 19-year-old girl who committed that sort of fraud should find herself serving some form of punishment.
And the punishment, the statement should not be whether she did it or not, which was what the guy said. He said, whether she's found guilty or not, I will still give her full sponsorship.
So now, we also remember her father came and he was apologetic when he realized, and I feel that maybe she has some form of good parenting. And I'm happy also that the state is thinking of giving her counseling, but they're also saying that they're going to speak to JAM to see how they could, reduce whatever it is that
I don't mind them negotiating for reduced punishment. She will still get the punishment.
What we need to understand is that first thing that needs to be done is that she goes through the help that she needs to get. Even in her apology,
there was a
remember, the apology seemed almost entitled. We read the apology. There was no full acknowledgement of what she had done. And the remorse didn't really come across. So this is someone that really, truly needs that help. And then after she gets that help, she should ask for whatever, and then Jam would determine based on the help she's gotten or how she has evolved, if she needs a reduced punishment or not. We are not only dealing with one Mesoma, we're not dealing with just Happie Boyz. We're dealing with many Nigerian...
We're dealing with a system.
Young children that are coming up and thinking, what is the way to go? How do I succeed in life? And
Anyhow, I'll still be fine. Let's take the call. Welcome to the show. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, my sister.
Adebanjo.
Yeah, I think, you see, for me, I've made up my mind, if I will help, I will help and just close it there. But for the Happie Boy, he has everything to lose. But for the pastor, he has done what his conscience has asked him to do. So whatever the Happie Boys are doing, they just shove themselves in the pool. Because other people will be very cautious dealing with them moving forward. So that doesn't stop us from helping people. Please, if you are led to help, please just help and leave it the way it is. But for the Happie Boys, very soon you'll hear another version of apologies. Good morning and have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Adebanjo. So you mentioned something that I feel we should harp on a bit. It is those system of collecting to help someone and how pulling resources together, calling people, and how some people that are victims in those situations feel that the person that is collecting the money has taken advantage of them or has taken more than what he's remitting to them. And that's why we had technology platform were created, like the GoFundMe, where there's a transparent way to know how much is contributed and we know who the money is going to be remitted to. A popular social media person came out to seek for funds towards a young child that I think he has a heart issue or kidney issue, and the boy passed on. And he came out to say, the money you're paying into this account, some of you are still paying. I heard some of you are still paying money, but the boy has passed on. Thank you for your support, but you don't really have to contribute again, because the plan was if after the surgery, if the boy will still need post-care, which was why they still kept the account out so that it can be getting funds. But that's a responsible system where the money goes directly to the family. But there are reasons why they don't take the money to the family, because sometimes you feel like the family might not use the money for what they're meant to do. So you were going to, Ronke?
I'll pick it from where you stopped. So in everything we have said, there's a huge issue of accountability. Accountability from the pastor, accountability from the boys. So nobody should just assume it's a free day, let us just chill, let us just enjoy. If pastor had given the boys the promise and held them accountable, they won't go this wild. And on the other part, if the boys also had a clear plan, so maybe the terms and condition again, and they were going to hold him accountable, then maybe we wouldn't have this breach of contract somewhere in the middle. But back to Ms. Soma's issue, I love what Miriam said, and I want to strongly agree that even if she's going to ask for some kind of leeway from JAMB, it can't be now.
Yeah.
That option is not on the table.
Even the governors
it's not on the table.
So
yes,
that
it's
is
not
after
on the table.
they said after she has gone through it, they will negotiate to see if they can be.
And I think
maybe
not
based
now
on what
have
they
like
see.
a clear
So that it's still not an emotional.
It should be
it
clear.
must not be an emotional decision.
I sort of don't. We would agree to disagree.
Yes.
Let's take a phone call, then I would explain why I sort of disagree.
Okay.
Waiting.
Welcome to the show. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Yemi. Go ahead. You're live.
Yeah. I'm first time calling.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah. Thank you. So, the situation with the OPM boys, from my own point of view,
Okay.
is just a reflection of the Nigerian attitude or mentality. There's always a reward for bad behavior. He shouldn't have spread that path. In my own point of view, I felt like, God forgive me, the pastor did it for clout. He shouldn't have gone about it the way he did. Sending them over there, I mean, of all countries, Cyprus. I don't want to go into that. Sending them to that type of country shouldn't even have been in the books in the first place. Rehabilitation should have been the first thing. Because they were gainfully employed, dancing on duty. And what was the reward? Sending them abroad. And then those boys, on the other end, I don't want to sound like a typical Hollywood director or scriptwriter, but it will take the grace of God for those boys to amount to anything in life again. Because there's an adage in Yoruba that says, "As if you do lori kun what they've done." The pastor went about it the wrong way, and they themselves
Made it
that were
worse.
helped. Like you rightly said, if the pastor wakes up one morning and says, "Okay, I can no longer support you," he has done his bit. It is left for them to carry on with their lives. But mocking that man, acting the way they are acting, I doubt they're going to be coming back from it. And truly, they label themselves as bad people, that they don't have orientation. Because, as a matter of fact, me as a person, when I see wicked people, I stop judging them on the spot. Because if they open their mouth to tell you their human experiences, you would understand why they've chosen to be that way. Thank you.
Okay.
We're having some issues, but thank you so much, Yemi. Thank you for your contribution. I was saying that, and I hear him, it is echoing what we had all, sort of said. And when we come back to Mr. story, I feel that I've said it several times, that I feel like I've been saying it a lot in recent times, that I believe people can change. I believe people can repent, people can come from a very terrible experience, and when they recount their story, you will not believe that they actually did what they did. People can. And sometimes we tend to now believe, because we've seen so many bad things happen in Nigeria, and we've seen a lot of people get away with bad things, we feel like almost everybody is bad. It's like when we don't give people lifts because we feel like, it might be a kidnapper or something. There are many people that are not kidnappers in Nigeria that genuinely need the lift, but we don't give them the lift anymore. I don't want anybody to come and spray something in the car or use handkerchief to blow. So that's the reason I always tend to stay on this part. And I feel there should be punishment. One, missing this year is one punishment. Maybe missing one more year can be another punishment, but like missing 3 years of her life, maybe if she truly demonstrates remorsefulness, yes. Even if the JAM spokesperson came on the show and immediately he said, the standard punishment is 3 years. But if we listen to her and she apologizes and lets us know how she went about it, we would be willing to reconsider that punishment. What we are now waiting to hear as Nigerians is that true remorse. Is she truly remorseful? Has she acknowledged what she did was wrong? Is she willing to...
Also, you're forgetting that apart from being caught, she also made a social media video where she was insistent that she was right and JAM was wrong.
So was this before the apology?
Yes, this was before the apology. So I know you're saying, so you know how when we're raising our children, and they say you should not give in to tantrums, because what we send to the child is that if you throw a big enough tantrum, you can get away
what you
with
want.
anything. We are supposed to ignore the tantrums and make them go through the process of learning something or serve the punishment for something.
And it should continue from
and if
childhood
we don't, and so what we're saying with Mesama is not, punish her and deal with her. That's not it. We're saying that there's a process that this happens, whether we know it consciously or not. If we do not go through that process, we'll make the same mistake on a bigger scale. So that's why I feel it should be about her rehabilitation first, or her punishment. And then when she, even prisoners, we've sentenced you to life, and then you're going there, doing your sentence, and then you come to appeal. And they say, based on good behavior, we've seen what you've done so far, and so we've reduced the sentence. But you will not give us as the first thing, okay, we're doing this, that will happen.
Just before you've even gone through the process. Let's take a phone call. Good morning, welcome to the show. Ouch, sorry. We'll be taking our final comments. Today is Healthy Tuesday, so we have to find our way back towards the healthier side of what is happening in Nigeria. But final comments from Ronke.
Okay, so Tope, I just want to say, as we tread on the Mesama's case, let's remember that we have millions or maybe thousands of other Nigerians who are watching, and so many other young guys who are also asking themselves that there must be an easier way out of this thing. So let's see what happens with Mesama. So I'll still insist. I love JAM's position on this. I love the state government's position, and I would say room for negotiation can be on the table now. We can't negotiate any kind of leeway for her now, but let's just see that her mental health is not questioned. As she's going through rehabilitation, she's kept close, and she understands that this is something nobody should try again. I mean, even for you, because if we had standard in this country like so many other developed nations, you know, this would be something that she would have to live with for a long time. For a long time. Yeah.
So you want to go back to the Happie Boyz? Your final comments?
Yeah. So my final comment on this issue of, you know, enabling and empowering people. There's this worrisome behavior amongst netizens, that's online users, that they have to trend everything. It's not everything that needs to go up into a trend. You see somebody make a viral video and you're going to look for the person and want to make... Look at the case of Olajumoke. Where is she today? Look at the case of I Can Spell. Or Mr. Spell. It's not everything that you trend up. You have to ensure that there's sustainability, and this person actually has something to give before you trend the person up and put it all up in our faces. So trend carefully.
Yeah. Final. I can spell though.
That guy was always doing, he was spelling wrongly, and it was going everywhere. You say spell what I will say T-E-W, and then it's like in music.
And then
I'm on social media, I'm always online, so I can't get that part. It's a major one. People just want to trend.
Yes.
Jumping on something, and that happened with Mr. That happened with Happie Boyz, and everybody would repost it, and we make the wrong things go viral. So
for you to don't go and learn from viral videos. That's not where to learn.
So you need to
educate yourself.
Yes. So I think that's
you need
a
to
good
censor
way
whatever your eyes see.
Yeah.
Not everything
I
out
think
there
that's a good way to end.
Yeah.
Don't learn from what is trending.
Yes.
Don't copy what is being popular. Understand rights from wrong. No matter how much social media tries to blur the line, there is right,
and
there is wrong. It's not even going to be blurred in real life. It might just happen briefly for a short while online. That's what we can take on this segment. When we return, we'll be discussing something healthy. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Before we go healthy, let me just mention a story that flashed in my head concerning Prophetess Abimbola and the little boy that she helped. So I remember Wole Arole found this boy singing and posted it on Instagram, and the video went viral. Like all those videos tend to go viral, and people sort of try to support. But Prophetess Abimbola Esther Abimbola took up this boy. And for the past 4 years, we just see him occasionally in church, only for him to graduate this year from a very good school in Lagos. It wasn't about clout. It was just about being philanthropic. And we're highlighting it because there are many Nigerians who still see things on social media and pick up this person and help with all good intention, not to trend, not just to chase any clout, but just because they are good human beings. And so we shouldn't we shouldn't use the bad to paint the good. There's good and there's bad. Yeah. Now, moving on to our Healthy Tuesday topic. Mariam has laughed at my Healthy Tuesday, but then it's okay. Every year, on the 25th of July, the world comes together and we commemorate the World IVF Day. It's a momentous occasion, you know, to celebrate the remarkable achievement of the fertilization process and its impact on millions of lives. Joining us on the show is a consultant gynecologist with over 15 years experience, Dr. Babatunde Ogunkile.
Yes. Pronounced correctly.
Ogunkile. I'm feeling myself today. I made up last time I bastardized one name.
Are you from my village?
So before we came on the show, I was talking about how I tend to talk about this topic a lot, and almost every time I talk about the fact that it's passionate for me because I'm an only child, and I know many people that we have millions of children that are alive today because of something called IVF. That was their only opportunity to come in. But I would like you to just give us a background story of many people don't even know what IVF is about. Surprisingly, we might just feel like it's a norm, but it's not. So tell us the idea of what IVF is about and where it is needed.
Well, IVF is a treatment option for infertile couples where the egg from the woman and the sperm from the man are brought together, and the fusion takes place in the laboratory and observed for growth, and the resulting embryos, that one or two transfer back into the woman's uterus. So with the intention that implantation will take place. It is not 100% successful, but however, amongst all the treatment of infertility till date, is the most efficacious.
Very interesting. So,
so it helps to overcome the barrier that may exist in the bedroom. And, provides hope.
Yeah, to those that are having fertility issues. Okay.
May I?
Yeah.
Okay, so just before, during the break, Chopper was saying this is a conversation we need to normalize in Nigeria. And I'm like, I think it's normalized. I think Nigerians have accepted that there is this as IVF. That the IVF is an option or an alternative for fertility. Do you think, in your practice, do you think Nigerians are more accepting of IVF, or do you think we're still struggling with it?
No, if we look at it from where we're coming from to now, I would say the acceptance is better, awareness is better, but however, the normalization are still not taking place. And that takes us to the social aspect of infertility, which is more than the medical aspect, because it's a social, if we're able to overcome the social aspect of infertility, then people will be able to get help. They will go to the right places without being exploited. Then, because when you look at our society, and I would say, I don't want to use the word unfortunate, but there's no there's no better word to use, that women are blamed for everything because they're the one that gets pregnant. So infertility in any relationship is obvious on the woman, because the woman that gets pregnant is the one that is not coming out with a big tummy. She's the one that is going to be ostracized. And in any case, even when they come for the treatment, women get treated for the problem of the man. Yes, because you imagine a situation in which a man has low sperm count or no sperm. Now we're going to do IVF. Who gets treated? It's the woman that takes the injection.
The procedure is done on the woman.
The procedure is done on the woman.
It's an unfortunate situation.
No, you see, but we need to overcome this. By people should come out, they should become more aware. And because time to seek treatment is also very important.
Okay.
Because when the age of the woman, and to a reasonable extent, that of the man, determines whether you're going to be a parent or not. So, because in most women, we are born with the total number of eggs that we're going to have in our lifetime. This is acquired when we're still in pregnancy and continues to decline until a point in which there's no egg anymore. So time is of essence. And, you know, if you're not aware or you're still undecided on where to seek the appropriate treatment, before you know it, before you realize that your options are limited.
That's so sad. Okay.
Thank you, Doctor. So when you asked Tokwe how I felt at the beginning of the show, you just took my mind back to where I was raised. And I remember a particular woman who had her first baby at almost 50, and the whole estate, I mean, I was in ABU, I needed to go back home because she just had a baby. And then I heard it was IVF. So truly IVF has brought a lot of joy, a lot of smiles. And she wasn't the first, but she wasn't the only one, but she was the first. So it's something I remember, and I'm super thankful to God. Doctor, I'd like to ask you, IVF has a problem, and that's the egg retrieval issue. Sometimes you hear that the eggs did not fertilize, the eggs are not strong enough. is it safe to have somebody donate eggs for another person? Would they still work? Is it wrong? And you mentioned age. Is there a particular age that women stand maybe 90% risk of failure?
Well, yes, that's 90
questions.
That's
Sorry.
two questions
Okay.
in one.
Sorry.
No, I'll take the last one. The risk of failure increases as a woman grows older. After the age of 35, you know, the probability of conception in any woman is almost the same between the age of 18 and probably 30. And there's a slight decline between 30 and 35. But after 35, it's like falling over the cliff.
Wow.
And it's because it's a fall. It's a fall. But that varies from individual to individual.
Okay.
But it's a fall. It is a recognized fall. And that is why time is of essence. Because age plays a significant role. As women grow older, what happens is that you have decline in quantity and also the quality.
So talking about, are you?
No,
Doctor?
the second question is there's nothing wrong in another woman donating her eggs. It's just like the blood donation too. There's nothing wrong in taking blood to survive. Yeah, there are two different. The way to acquire donated eggs, or the procedure of donating egg is a lot different. Don't let me say slightly. It's a lot different. It takes time. It takes a convenience, because when you are doing the procedure, you can't leave the environment. You can't travel out of the town because of the procedure you are doing, and it's a bit invasive.
Not a bit, it's invasive.
No, I don't want to scare you.
So you have a question?
Yes, my question is actually on that egg donation. So egg harvesting for IVF procedures seems to be a booming business, even though we do not want to talk about it.
Yet I'm not a multi-billionaire.
So, and I know you are a member of the AFRH.
Yes, AFRH.
That's Association of Fertility and Reproductive Health. Great. So how is that association ensuring safety standards and to ensure that these young girls, because most of the girls who actually donate their eggs are actually young, they are undergraduates and all.
Context.
You know,
Yes, we can.
So how are we sure that these young girls are not being manipulated to donate their eggs at the expense of their health?
I want to just give context, because there are a few stories going around about young girls, especially undergrad girls, who are, have their eggs harvested almost on a regular basis for money. And people are wondering, especially, you know, that we know that a woman is born with a certain number of eggs. So we're thinking, are they aware? Yes. Are they aware? And as she said, your association, are you in any way involved with these clinics that do this, so that the girls themselves know that it's not just about money today, it's something that may affect them in the future, especially because of how frequently they tend to do this?
I think we need to address the misconception there as well. Because the process of oocyte retrieval and donation is like we try to take advantage of natural physiology, in which the way it is that beginning, I'll use a monthly calendar as the beginning of a cycle. The way the body produces an egg is that you recruit a number of follicles, in which at one point in time, one of them acquire dominance. And the remaining, whether it's been recruited or not, the fate is sealed. It's like a kamikaze mission. So they don't go back into the body. So once recruited is recruited and defeated. So even though the body will produce one egg at the end of the day, but when you give medication, you give equal opportunities to these follicles. It's not like they are taking away their
supply.
Ovaries. No, it's not like you remove the ovaries from the body. But however, just like any procedure, there are risks associated with it. I think is also responsibility on the physician to discuss these risks extensively so that they can make informed decision. Because I've I've also read on social media that is a booming trade that they export abroad, which is also a misconception. Imagine you want to export black eggs to a white Caucasian. So is that a good business sense, or who are going to use?
Some people want mixed-race children.
Well, it's like you want to export Caucasian eggs to this part of the world. It's not going to be a booming...
Scandal.
Yes. It's not going to be a booming trade. And the way they trump up as if these people are being exploited at IVF clinics, they take so much and they give just a little. Number one, the idea is not to turn garments into commodities. So when you give compensation, compensation is for the inconvenience, the time, maybe lunch, transportation. That is compensation. It's not payment. So there should be a clear distinction between paying for.
Should be redefined.
Redefined. It's
like
not
you're doing something noble instead of selling.
Yes, instead of selling, because that will degrade human dignity when you begin to sell garments. And in any case, the amount they claim that clinics collect, it's just what they pay the donor is just a fraction
of that amount.
Of that amount. There are other things. The medication is there, the treatment is there, utility and everything else. But the idea of that is a booming trade, I think it's just
exaggeration.
Exaggeration. It's not.
But you see, considering the resulting challenge we have with human trafficking in Nigeria, people selling their kidney, people selling their. There was a stranger, I think their toes or something. There was one that they were a part of the body that I felt was so strange that I was told they were cutting off and selling. And so when we hear that people can just walk into a clinic when they need money and sell their eggs as a woman, for me, it shouldn't be as allowed as a medical procedure. It shouldn't. I feel that the medical association, even though the medical system knows that there's need for eggs, it shouldn't be the same way you do it, but you're getting blood. They're two different. I don't think it should be the same way. But bringing it back to our society, and another part I want to just link to it is, we have a society that we're buying babies. You know, people, I remember then when they were breaking those stories in some parts of Nigeria where you would say a baby factory. They will open like a 3-bedroom flat and it's like this is a hostel. You can have like 20 children or 20 young teenagers and all of them are pregnant, some are giving birth and they are selling those babies. So I think I'm happy that we seemingly have moved away from that, but are we moving into a better place in selling eggs?
No, see, because we are still falling into that trap of selling eggs. It's not because we need to change the narrative that whatever, and the reason why because the people on social media is that these people have been exploited, the donors have been exploited. I take so much, and you are giving little. Payment should be discouraged at all cost.
Oh.
So it's like donating blood, where
payment should be discouraged at all costs. I just mentioned you can imagine in which a donor, maybe a specific features on a particular donor is going to, once you turn it into a commodity, it's going to put a price. And by the time the child is born from donated eggs, you know what is going to happen to that value? That humanity in it is completely lost. And you know, the same way men come forward to donate sperm, even though the procedure of sperm
is different.
It's quite enjoyable.
It's not as
just 5 seconds
tedious, not as laborious, but it also gets compensated. And you know, one other thing is when you increase the amount paid, you will find people who ordinarily will decline donation, but they will be tempted to doing it. And rather than making informed decision based on their psychology, risk assessment, the money is going to tempt. Then you can imagine somebody that are going to pay, say, 200 versus 1 million Other people can afford, and the moment you start paying for eggs, what you are going to do is also to deprive some beneficiaries, because it becomes, oh, is who can pay the highest get the services.
Okay.
No, she was going to ask her.
Okay, so I was going to ask, so failed IVFs can be mentally, physically, and financially draining. And like you said, the success rate is between about, I think, 30 to 40%.
Well, it's getting better.
Getting better.
But not 100%.
But how do you advise women or couples who have actually invested a lot of money into this procedure? They've done it like 2, 3, 4 times, and it still hasn't. They still haven't gotten their own baby. How do you advise them?
You know, there are other alternatives. Okay. Adoption is one of them, which is an alternative. And, you know, in IVF, there are many procedures. Egg donation, you want to use your egg, surrogacy. So all those ones will form part of the advice after review. And, you know, the physician is actually, what we do is expectation management. Because it is not invariably successful. So imagine a situation in which a 25-year-old woman married to a 30-year-old man with no fibroid, no nothing, just we call them gold standard. The success rate is higher than somebody who is 38 in the same. So we need to manage the expectation, and that is why we carry out some tests. That Mrs. XY, your chance of having a baby is better with donor egg or surrogate. Alternative, like I said, is an adoption, not buying babies.
Yes, please, I'm happy to say that. Ma'am.
Thank you. Sir, do babies from IVF procedure, do they face any kind of risk in future?
Okay,
There's part two, sir.
Okay.
I'll be quick. You and your double-loaded
questions. I'll be quick. So I one time saw a 34-year-old lady who got married in February, and by August she had opted for IVF. I felt, it's too soon. But she said 4 or 5 months is more than enough time to know that she needs help and she's not ready to waste any more time. So can you tell us the indicators for ladies, for those who are watching? How do they know that maybe I need to see a physician on this to be advised?
Well, it's actually a very smart move, because if you already identify some factors in a woman who has regular menstrual period, you will probably understand that there's something wrong, that I don't need to wait. Or at some point before marriage, you've been diagnosed to have endometriosis. It's not time to wait. And maybe for some reason, you know, people have actually cohabited before the celebration of the official. You know, so they know, yes.
Yeah, so they know that there's
so they know there's a problem, and it's good to come forward and address that.
Okay, so the babies from
IVF. See, the babies from IVF, I'll tell you, the first babies, the first child from IVF was born today in 1978.
Yeah. So that's what they're celebrating?
No. That's what they say in the world.
Yeah, that's significant.
That's Louise Brown. You know, she has 2 children of her own, non-IVF related, and her sister was born 4 years after, and who also was the first IVF conceived baby to have a child. So there's nothing, they do very well in school. Just like
normal
human beings.
Okay, they're not extra. I need to quickly throw in my. I know that they're able to pick. You can pick, but let me let you.
That they've gone further. You can pick eyes and hair color. But I was going to ask about. I was going to ask about. You mentioned that a woman after 35 you know, there's a sharp decline. And I'm also thinking men, because men have always been told, hey, Abraham had a baby at 100 years, you know, and so they feel, and as you know, in modern times, people are getting babies much later. They're getting married much later, and so babies are coming much later. But the men always feel like they're good, you know. So how does age affect, for men, the quality and quantity of their own?
You know what defines fertility in a man is a relative or absolute lack of sperm. And that which is different from the semen that they ejaculate. And the quality declines with age. Even the semen quantity, is the count for drops with age, maybe not to the same extent as the way that a woman will fall.
Okay.
But from age of 44,
44,
anything 40, but I think it starts to get significant from 44. The fertility in men declines.
Okay.
Count, motility, and morphology, they start to decline. And when you look at it, even the urge to have sex
drops.
Begin to drop.
Wow, we don't. Surprisingly, we had no phone call throughout your segment, but I think it's because it is extremely important, and we're totally out of time. But you shared a lot of things with us, and I'll just want to do a quick recount. If I'm misinforming the audience, please feel free to interrupt me. I'll run through it. One, women should start the fertility drops sharply from 35, and it remains the same from 18 to 30. Around the same from 18 to 30, but so if you're above 35 and getting married, you should be aware that you should work on yourself fast, getting to see a gynecologist. For men, it declines from around 40, 44, thereabout. There's nothing wrong with IVF babies. They are normal, they are intelligent. There's no stigma attached to having a baby through IVF. And donating eggs is not a... It shouldn't be sold.
It's not commercial.
It's not a commercial thing. It should be a voluntary thing out of the goodness of your heart to support. And I think for those that have issues with their egg, they can collect their eggs from their sisters and siblings. It might help us as well. If you see, at the end of the day, IVF is a healthy alternative to dealing with infertility. And if someone is going through that, please, today was the day the first child from IVF was born. So it's a reminder that you shouldn't limit God in how he performs his miracle in your life. That's what we can take on the show today. Thank you so much, Dr. Babatunde Ogunkile. And thank you, ladies, for an amazing show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, ladies.
Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Bye.